Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm going over the two tournaments I attended in February and March. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you like it or not? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, and a affiliate link at Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But yeah, let's get into it. So I'm covering the two tournaments I played, I think just at the end of February at Tabletop Republic in High Wycombe. And then literally just this week on Wednesday at Warhammer World. Warhammer World. So I'll go over Tabletop Republic first and High Wycombe. But I thought it's good to cover tournaments because this year I want to cover them more fully. Last year I couldn't really. So I'm now trying to cover more tournaments. So let's get into it. So for my first event, I was back at Tabletop Republic in High Wycombe. So I haven't actually been here, I think 9 months, usually due to a mixture of train strikes and then event clashes. So it was good to be able to go back to this. So this was a 4-round tournament. It's in High Wycombe. And yeah, I haven't played in their new store. So this was a nice change because I'd previously been at the road location. And conveniently, their new store is just literally like a few minutes, like a minute walk from the car park, because now I can drive. I wanted to actually experiment driving to events and playing because it's not something normally covered. And I wanted to see if it would actually affect my play. The other thing was I was using all Kommandos. So I actually wanted to use Starstriders, but then I knew there was going to be 1 to 2 really good Felgor players. And effectively where the meta is at the moment, unless Felgor get hugely nerfed, teams like Starstriders have no chance. So I was like, look, I haven't practiced. I'll just take Kommandos. So I brought Kommandos, and yeah, so round 1, we started at 10:30. Each round was 2 hours. So first off, I was against Starstriders with my Kommandos on, I think it was loot. Yeah, I think it was loot. Yeah, it was loot. And the funny thing was, if I'd brought my Starstriders, it would have been the Starstrider mirror, which I have played before, but it's just weird. So I was using my Kommandos. I forward deployed my Slasher Boy behind the oil rig. And then first activation, he activated his Voidmaster and his trooper with a crack grenade and effectively killed my Slasher Boy, but I didn't need to spend just a scratch to stay alive. So the problem he had was that he had committed his Voidmaster and crack grenade turning point 1, so I was able to move up and effectively capture 3 objectives. And then I brought down his Voidmaster to 2 wounds. No, I killed his Voidmaster turning point 1. So then I was free to threaten the rest because 3 guys were on the point. And then effectively from turning point 2 onwards, I had blocked enough points. So even though the assassin was on the middle right-hand side, the assassin couldn't really threaten much, because the problem is the assassin charged in, rolled 1 crit, and I rolled 4 hits. So I actually brought the assassin down to 2 wounds and survived due to just a scratch, and then just killed the assassin. And by the end of turning point 2, Lucia was dead, and it was just like the tech priest died turning point 2. So I managed to kill enough of the big threats from the kill team so I could just safely push up. And then by the end of the game, I had won 23, 13 or something. But it was basically because I just prioritized killing the Voidmaster, the leader, and the assassin. And then after that, the Lek 2 Maester, and then it was just free for me to push up. It's a very bad matchup for Starstriders at the moment, and loot didn't help as well. So then after a half an hour break, we played game 2. So I was against Felgor Ravagers on Secure. And interestingly enough, my opponent had put his Nalskar, the guy who can throw a crack grenade, on engage. So then I recon dashed my rocket up just towards that vantage point, and then first activation moved up, but he used his leader redeploy, because I pointed out if I didn't shoot at his crack grenade, I could shoot his leader bubble. So then he moved his leader bubble back to space him out more. So then I just immediately turning point 1 with Daka, frenzied the Nalskar and brought the other 2 down by quite a lot, and effectively getting that kill turning point 1, even though he killed the Grot in return because I pushed the Grot too far forward. It allowed me just to threaten too much. I even got a Daka dash off on the right-hand side, bringing a goat down to 2 wounds. And going ahead that early just gave me enough push. Like, even when one of the Felgor charged in, they got a bad rogue, only getting 2 hits. And then with just a scratch, I survived and I killed, like, the Mauler when the Mauler charged. And it just allowed me to push up. And even though he did max tac ops, I basically went 3-2, sorry, on the prime. No, 4-2 on the primary every turning point. So I maxed my tac ops and I maxed on the primaries. And because I went infiltration because I didn't need to kill, like I stole the barricades. I had someone sort of like being within blue of someone while also being in his territory more than blue from other people. So I just maxed out infiltration and then focused on just winning the primaries, even if it cost me sacrificing boys. Because by the time I went 3 turning points ahead, 4-2, I knew I had won. And then just I went to max out tac ops. So I was glad in this regard that I was correct in picking Kommandos, because I think if I picked Starstriders, I might have been able to do something similar, but it still would have been probably a loss into Felgor. Then after 15 minutes, we played into Warp Coven with my Kommandos, and this time it was on capture. So I forward deployed the Slasher Boy just behind there, and effectively my opponent played quite cagey. He forgot about my shush, so like I can move people forward. So originally everyone was spaced together behind the pipe, and then I spaced out. And he did try and like use the indirect blast on the grot, but the grot just like rolled so many crits and just lived, and effectively allowed me to push up. So I went 4 victory points every turn. He moved up the thingy, the rotor cannon, onto the vantage point, and then because of my climbing gear, I was able to charge and then knocked down the rubric to like 3 wounds. And then at the end of the turning point, I spent a CP to fight and revealed Robin Ransack, and then just left my Slasher Boy to live. And oddly though, he did kill like 7 or 8 Kommandos, but by that time I had established dominance and just won just via the primaries, just because I had too many bodies. So it was an interesting game, but it was just kind of like I didn't give him enough good blast opportunities. And he did win some key initiatives, but by that time I was too far forward and just too much in his face. Then in round 4, I was against Hyrotech Circle on loot. Once again, I was on Nakmund for 4 games in a row. So the issue was turning points 1 and 2, I went 4 on the primary, 4-2. And then I actually got some good kills, and I brought down the Apprentice to 3 wounds. But then, as happens with all games, the issue, well, it can happen. My dice effectively failed. So while in combat I was doing well, my shooting attacks did horribly. Like I was shooting the Apprentice in the open and just getting like 2 hits, even with the Daka Boy. And like my shooting was a bit mistimed. And like the other problem was every time my opponent shot, it was a crit and 3 hits every time. So the problem I had was like even just a scratch wouldn't save me then. And it was just really weird because we chatted about it, and I did do like the only thing I misdeployed like with a shush, but otherwise, other than that, it's like literally I only lost by 1 point because I didn't reveal Robin Ransack in time. So it probably would have been a draw if I revealed it earlier. But it was just such a weird game because I did everything right. But then like it was just the dice, like only rolling 2 hits in melee or 1 hit, and then in shooting only rolling 2 hits. So it was really weird because I don't like complaining about dice, but even my opponent was like, yeah, normally I don't roll this hot. And it was just weird. So I did get caught out a few times by the Hyrotech this time. But like turning point 1, I managed to kill the forward deploying Deathmark. So it was like super close. It was just insane. It was just like he thought his Apprentice was dead, and then like when the Apprentice just didn't die, like I got a good dynamite off which killed his 2 drones and then wounded his Apprentice down to 3, and then his Apprentice was in the open. I just couldn't kill it. So it was just a weird game. Like maybe it would have been better if we were playing capture, or I mean like secure, but either way, it was like still really fun. It was just weird to see things happen like that, but it does happen. So at the end of the tournament, I actually finished 2nd out of 18 players with 3 wins and a loss, and then I think like the highest strength of schedule, which was good. But it was weird. I was kind of like, yeah, if I brought my Starstriders, I probably wouldn't have lost to Necrons, but then I would have lost to Felgor. And then it was still fun. I think the main problem with the event, like the staff were great, the players were fine, like were fun, and like the terrain was good. The only problem was they had preset maps they didn't use because they didn't have like time for it. But the main problem like was the schedule was really compacted. We started at 10:30, then played a 2 rounds until 12:30, then had lunch until 1, then played till 3, had a 15-minute break, played until 5:15, had a 15-minute break, and then played again. So the only problem I had, I was like, if they had just started a bit earlier, like even starting at 10, or like, because I find when you have 15-minute gaps between 2-hour rounds, so 2-hour rounds is the ideal play style, like for a tournament, but 15-minute breaks is way too short. Like I was really, really tired by round 4, because the problem is I've just gone 2 hours, barely any break, 2 hours, barely any break. So I didn't even have enough time to properly rest. I think I would have just only preferred if they could even get like half an hour breaks between rounds, or even 20, just something a bit more than 15, because it was so dense. I would have even preferred doing round 1 and 2, then lunch, then 3 and 4. But it's just the logistics with times and stuff. But otherwise, it was super fun. I got a really cool glass trophy. So it's like, it was like really nice. And they had like prizes for best kills. But it was a super fun event. And I'd highly recommend going if you are available. I think the next one's in the 25th of May. So it should be fun. And like, I've always had a good time. And their new store is like really convenient, especially if you're driving. It's a bit further from the train station. But if you can get like some sort of vehicular transport there, it's really good. And then on the event just gone past, like literally this Wednesday, I played at Warhammer World for their weekday tournament. So while the Tabletop Republic tournament was all Into the Dark, this tournament was all open. This tournament was all Into the Dark. And I was actually umming and ahhing about what team to bring again, because I was like, oh, this is Into the Dark. If there's Felgor, I'm literally screwed if I play Starstriders. But then I was like, oh, I could bring my Legionary, because Legionary are pretty good into Felgor. And then I was like, I could actually bring Hyrotech. I've got a fully paid Hyrotech team. And then I was discussing with one of my American friends, and then she just recommended, well, if you like Starstriders, just take Starstriders because they're cool. And I was like, you know what? They are. And my Starstriders are painted really nicely. Like they're my favorite painted kill team at the moment. I put a lot of effort into them. I was like, yeah, screw it, Technically, Starstriders are worse on Into the Dark in like for the general consensus, but for me, I find them just as good. And like, I'll just play and I'll see what happens. Ideally, I would get a painting award, but we'll see. So then round 1, I played on Into the Dark against Vetguard on Loot. So the interesting thing here was I was like, okay, this is going to be quite tough. So what I did, first activation, I used the Linktree Maester with my second scouting option to dash up, and then he opened the door, moved, capped the point, and then, moved loot at the point into this lightning field. So no one, because everyone was on conceal, he actually picked Fortify, whereas I also picked Fortify, but he was the attacker. So I'd done that, and then I slowly moved up, and then I put my free Voidmaster, Assassin, and Crack Grenade around the right-hand side door there. So I got Recover Item turning point 1 as well with the cat, and I'd spaced out correctly. He did have a chance where he had given the Demo Mine free APL with the door open. So instead of looting, he could have moved and dashed, opened the door where my 3 guys were, and then hoped to win initiative. He didn't do that. He opened the door, like he moved and opened the other door and moved his Demo Man into the room on the left. And then I unfortunately did win initiative, and I group activated the Voidmaster and Crack Grenade. So the Crack Grenade moved up, killed the leader. Like just did that. And then the Voidmaster moved up, killed the Demo Mine, and then las pistoled the Plasma Gunner on engage down to 1 wound. And then after that, like the Demo Mine did Death Atonement, killed my Voidmaster, because there's only much you can do when she's on the open. And then my Linktree Maester looted the point, moved back and closed the door and did the lightning field. And after that, I was just able to get enough trades because I'd killed the leader turning point 2 and was just able to secure dominance because like the assassin just locked down the room. And then I just managed to like slowly kill and move up. So while he did almost max his tac ops, I was able to get 4-2 on the primary for most turns. And I scored secure. I maxed unexplored rooms. I maxed a reputation to maintain just because Lucia just turning point 4 charged up and just managed to like punch a guardsman to get to the 12 wound and then died in return because his leader had 0 on the tally. And I scored recover item with the cat. who also killed a guardsman. My cat likes killing guardsmen. But after that, yeah, there was a super fun team. He was playing really cool vet guard because we had the painting competition. So as you can see, you've got my Elucidity and Starstrider team. I'm going to take a full video like with my painted kill teams once I get a better photo. But you can see my like Necromunda Escher inspired kill team. Mostly Necromunda models. And then below, you can see his Veteran Guards kill team, which was really cool. It's the Cities of Sigmar models, just with Vet Guard arms, like really well painted. I was really happy to have him as my first opponent because it was just, no matter what, we were going to have a good time because we had just two really nicely painted kill teams. So it was really fun. Like, had so much fun. Then we had lunch, which was good. So the only interesting thing about this tournament is an hour and 45. I would have preferred 2-hour rounds, but I know the logistics are difficult. But then for round 3, I was into, what do you call them? Exaction Squad on Secure. So this is actually quite an interesting matchup because if most of my kill team is based around rerolls and his Flash Lumen shut them down. So like first activation, he made me go first. My Lectu Maester moved, secured the point, and then my cat like moved up, secured a recover and moved back. His leader moved up to that first barricade closer to the midline. And then when he activated on the right-hand side his Subductor to move and capture the objective, because I was going, oh, if I move and dash the assassin and open the door, I can lance one of them, the Castigator, or the... I mean, if I moved up my Voidmaster or my Voidswoman and opened the door with a third APL, I could just lance one of them next activation. I then looked at the left-hand side. He hadn't picked change order. Everyone on the left-hand side was on conceal. So what I did, I spent my CP on my Voidswoman on the right-hand side of the left side. She moved and dashed to the door, opened it, and was in such a way that she was always within 2 inches of the door and you couldn't be in a position to hatchway fight from the door. So then his entire problem was the Subductor, his Pistol Man was on the point and couldn't really move away. And then he had 2 Subductors in the open, one with a crack and then one with a frag and then just one normally. So he thought he was safe by moving the Subductor in the open to the door, but it was within 2 inches of my lady on the door. But then I dashed my Heavy Gunner, who just killed his Pistolier, because the Pistolier, while he looked obscured, he was actually close. He was within 2 of the door, so he actually wasn't obscured. And then basically my Heavy Gunner just obliterated him. And then his other Subductor just like, oh, I'll move and cap the point. And then I measured, and then his left Subductor with the frag grenade was within 2 inches of my lady. So I lanced him, and then, but like the weird thing, I didn't need to reroll, but because the spaceship doesn't count as being the active operative, it still gets rerolls. But anyway, I rolled 3 hits and killed him. So then the problem is I'd secured that flank entirely. And then I just pushed up, like turning point 1, last activation. I had recon dash with my second scouting option, my assassin up to the door. So he opened the door, charged his leader, and I was like, okay, I charge. And I rolled 3 crits and 2 hits. And he rolled a crit and 2 hits, a crit and 3 hits, sorry. So I immediately parried his crit. And then he was like, fine, I'll hit you for 4 damage. And then I made a feel no pain save, and then he realized he couldn't kill me. So then I critted him for 6 damage, and then he made another attack, and I made a weird 4 damage. And I made 2 feel no pain rolls, and then I killed his leader. And then it kind of went a bit downhill from there, because turning point 1, I had killed 3 of his guys. My assassin activated first, put his Subductor on the point down to 1 APL with my dart pistol, charged his medic and killed him, because his medic got 2 hits, but I parried twice and then killed him. And it was just kind of too much. He did push up a lot, but he was kind of too aggressive, and like my airstrikes just kept like getting in the way. But because I just shut down the left-hand flank from turning point 2 onwards, I was 4-2 on the primary and was just too much in his face. So it was like a really tight game, but it was just because it's a weird trick. Like I said, like he should have spaced out his barricades more, because if he had 3 barricades, I would have actually not been able to lance him that way. It's a common pitfall in Into the Dark where you think you're safe in a room, but if you have everyone on conceal, but then your opponent could just open that door, then all of a sudden, if you haven't activated those 3 operatives, at least one of them is going to die, and Starstriders are really good at punishing that. Then in the final round, we were playing Capture, and I was against Breaches, not Brooches. breaches, and this was on map 1, the worst map for Into the Dark, and it was super tight. He actually played correctly and was quite cagey turning point 1 because he was very scared of the assets, which was right, because if he had moved up into any of the rooms that I was too close to, I would have lanced him turning point 1, but it allowed me to go 3-2 on the primary. Then turning to point 2, I won initiative. My Lectu Maester walked up to his melter, knocked him down to 2 wounds, and then died in a returning blitz. And then what I did was activate my frag and Voidmaster because he had opened the door on the closer room on the left-hand side. So my Voidmaster moved up, immediately just killed with the group activation, killed his Voidmaster. I mean, it killed his Axe Jack. And then I threw a frag grenade, knocking the other guy down to 1 wound. And then I was just able to secure the flank because my cat charged in, killed another breacher. And like, it was just able to slowly move up and punish because I was able to wipe out everyone on the left flank, max out recover item and unexplored rooms. And then because I was just playing cagey on the right-hand side, because my heavy gunner was on the point on engage on guard with the medic within blue. And because of that, my assassin was able to swing around, clear out the center room, and then my leader was able to use it as a staging point to secure the room, secure unexplored rooms, and then max out a reputation to maintain. So even though it doesn't sound like it was that close, it's actually super close. I think we both only had like 4 or 3 operatives left, but I had maxed, I had gone like 3-3 on the primary, like I think I was like on 11, no, not 11, sorry. I think I was on like 14 on the primary. And then I had maxed a reputation to maintain, secure rooms, and recover item. And he had taken the security tac ops, which I was able to play around quite well. But he did kill me quite heavily. I got very lucky with my Voidmaster surviving all the shots from his 3 APL leader. The weirdest interaction we had was our shotgunners, like, so my Voidmaster versus his normal trooper behind a door just shooting each other, not being able to kill each other. So then I just fell back and he had to charge me to kill me because he walked up to me with 1 wound, shotgunned me, and I saved it all. So I was just like, fine, I'm not going to use my shotgun, I'm just going to punch you. Which is this weird interaction you get sometimes. But it was a really fun game. And yeah, it managed to make me go 3-0. So then at the end of the tournament, we had the rankings. So because it was 24 players with 3 rounds, the tiebreakers are like tournament wins, then most maxed VPs and total victory points. So I think I was the only one to max all my secondaries every game. So I managed to come first again. So it was really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get any painting awards. I was hoping to get a painting award this time. That was what I wanted the most. But it was really nice getting first place. I didn't think it was actually going to happen because oddly, I thought there was going to be tons of Felgor. But there was only 1 and there were tons of elites. I think Chaos Cult and Legionary also went undefeated, which is really cool. I think the Legionary was Slanesh and Zinch, which is really good. But I had lots of fun with my Starstriders. I'm really glad I'm sticking with them, and I was glad I listened to my friend because she was right. But it was really cool. It's like, I know people say Starstriders aren't good on Into the Dark, but I find they lose and gain stuff. So the interesting thing is with your assets, on open, you just want to fire the lance every turn. The blast isn't like that great. But on Into the Dark, you actually don't mind which you fire every turn because the blasts all gain lethal 5 up. So your 5 attacks hitting on 4s, 3-5 lethal 5 up can oddly out damage the lance, which is really cool. So it's like you get a lot more flexibility. It's easier to set up your combos. You have to be better with how you place your auras, but especially with how powerful Recon is Into the Dark. I still find they're quite good, but I was just also quite fortunate there were no Felgor and I didn't run into any Kommandos. But it was still a super fun event, and I highly recommend going to Warhammer World if you can. The only thing I would have changed is probably just 2-hour rounds, but as I said earlier, I don't think it's feasible with how they run the weekday tournaments. And we also had a fire alarm during round 2, because they were like, oh, it's fire alarm testing day, but if it goes on any longer, we'll have to evacuate. So the fire alarm went off and it was fine. And then like half an hour later, the proper fire alarm went on. So we all had to evacuate, and they paused the time, which was really cool. And we still managed to finish early, which was great. So they ran an amazing event, always fun at Warhammer World. I would have liked, because they do it for open, they put down the objectives if it's open, but for Into the Dark they don't. So luckily I had my own objectives. But I think that would be the only other thing, just adding objectives for Into the Dark, like it just pre-placed. But otherwise, super fun. Both events were really good. I'd highly recommend Tabletop Republic in High Wycombe and Warhammer World if you can. I think Warhammer World is next doing a narrative event, but also it's on the same day as my golden ticket event at the Goonhammer Open in June. So if you're competitive, you want to play a more competitive tournament, you can come to my tournament. But if you wanted a more relaxed, narrative tournament where you're telling a story, their tournament will be good as well. But it's super fun. Hopefully I shall be able to do these now more regularly in terms of events I go to, I'll always cover, because that's the intention. I don't like only covering events I win. I like covering events whether I win or lose to show if my plan and stuff worked. You could see for High Wycombe, my commando plan almost worked because I came to the realization again that I really need to stick with the kill team because I don't have much time to play anymore or practice. So if I just stick with a kill team and hope for the best, it's probably a better bet, because that's partly why I did so well with Pathfinders. I just played them for 8 months. So I think I will just stick with Starstriders and go from there. Commandos, it was easy playing them, but I was also I kind of needed to do a bit more practice with them. But going back to Starstriders was just so much fun. It's like muscle memory because I've been playing them for quite a bit now and the field team cards help. So hopefully that kind of showed, it's better to stick with a kill team and kind of just work around the meta, because that's what my friend said as well. It's she had a problem where it's she's horrible at picking the teams to counter the meta, because then it's kind of there's so many options, so just play what you want and that actually worked for me better than just trying to counter pick. So I think that would be my recommendation for the day. If you're going to a tournament, play the team you like. Keep in mind the meta, but don't let it dictate what you play and how you play. And then you'll have fun, because I had so much fun with my Starstriders. It's just so cool. Especially my cat. My cat loves killing humans. I don't know. In one game, when I played the last Warhammer World, he killed 3 guardsmen. 2 because they charged him. 1 ran away onto a vantage point. And my cat was no 4 crits. Get off the vantage point and die. But that's pretty much it from me today. Oh, and also, I ultimately found from driving, I think it was pretty fine. I did rest a bit before. I thought it would tire me out more driving to tournaments and driving back on the same day. But I actually think if you space out and break it up, after a tournament, wait a bit, I think it's fine. Making yourself fully hydrated and stuff. I know it's not a normal thing we cover. It's just because normally I would go from events on the train. So I wouldn't be, if I was tired, I'd just sleep on the train. So I'd wondered how much driving and playing at events would drain me, but that's why I actually didn't want to play a complex team. But overall, I found it fine, manageable. The Nottingham one was a bit more wild, because by the time I got back, it was 10 p.m. But I think it was fine. I know it's anecdotal, but we don't really cover it for tournament reports, at least for the tournaments I watch, and even myself. So hopefully that helps if you drive to events. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you like it or not? Let me know. And what else do you want to see me from tournament coverage? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, and a affiliate at Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Tom, Sam, Nick, Mr. Meatwad, Kenzie, John Thomas, Graham, Dave Meets World, Dad of Goldens, Ben, and for my veterans of the crit, I have Sam. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me today. Hopefully I'm being able to stick to my 2 videos a week plan. I've got another crit cast coming up, and I will be doing a live stream on YouTube, probably to a Q&A to, celebrate me getting 10k subs here. And then my next crit cast will probably be live streamed on YouTube. I think I'm just going to step away from Twitch. But it's cool playing at tournaments. I really need to play more, practice. I actually usually get a practice game once every 2 weeks or once a week, and I haven't been able to get practice games for a while. But I do find it's fine because I'm quite comfortable with my Starstriders. I just have to play them more. But playing at events is fun, and hopefully my video encourages you to play at tournaments if they're local to you or just a little bit further away, because you'll have a lot of fun and learn the most. It's where I learn the most and improve from. And I get to meet a lot of great people, so many cool people at our kill team events, and you'll just meet nice, cool people. But yeah, remember, no matter how far you travel, you can always win as long as you can roll a crit.